Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another edition of This Is Recorded podcast. This is a special one, man. We have a doctor, yes, what the doctor ordered in the building today that's going to tell us a lot about a lot. Please introduce yourself with your socials, how you could be reached, and your name, everything, please.
My name is Rashaan Hodge, Doctor Rasean Hodge on Instagram, RASEANHODGE.MD on Instagram. Definitely turn on post notifications, story notifications, and get educated. I definitely can help you fill in the knowledge gaps about cannabis as a medicine. Uh, is it for you? It might not be for you. The good, the bad, the ugly. Definitely can help you find a route in the business of cannabis, whether it be ancillary or non-ancillary, plant touching or non-plant touching. Um, so, educate you about hemp as well. So tune in. And
Okay.
thanks for having me on the show, bro. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's a blessing, man. It's an honor. So where were you born or raised at?
Oh, Jersey, Jersey. Born in New Jersey, town called Manalapan. One of six kids. I got a twin brother, two older sisters, a little brother and a sister. My parents came from, they met at Tuskegee. They're both from Alabama. And like most people, most blacks from the South at that time, during integration, as soon as integration happened, they did their little civil, they fled the South, went to New York, and then went to Jersey and had me and my brother and the rest of us.
That's amazing. I
So
spent
yeah,
time in Trenton, New Jersey.
Trenton, that's the capital,
The
man. I
capital.
did some time with yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jersey's cool. Jersey was a great experience. It made Atlanta so much more special to me because Jersey was a huge melting pot, and where I was, I was the minority. My family. So being the only one from childhood to 18, and then when come to Atlanta, like a black city, go to Morehouse. It was just dope. Something needed, necessary for me, to get that black experience.
Amazing. Now, how is it being a twin? What is the like? Because I see that you and your twin brother is very close, and I gotta shout out
Yeah,
my father-in-law, Phil Stark, Captain Q America. That is, he say it's the only frat, and I see your brother is a part of the only frat, is what I
yeah,
hear.
he is. He is cute. But being a twin is amazing, bro. It's your if you believe in soulmates, he's my soulmate. We shared the womb together. Uh, a lot of a lot of who I am is because of him. So it's great being a twin, and that was he's my hero.
Wow.
So it's good. It's good to have that. And he's one of those dudes that, like, if you built a rope swing, we in the like suburbs. You can build a rope swing or a ramp or whatever. He's the first guy. He was like the test dummy, right? And he always would do it, make it across the ravine, and you go after him, you gonna break a leg. You know what I'm talking about. He was like the Superman. So growing up with that, it was just amazing. He was he's naturally intelligent, this crazy IQ. So trying to keep up with him academically uh, helped me become a physician. College was a little bit easier because I was just trying to keep up with him and not get my butt whipped. Because unfortunately, as a twin, you get compared a lot.
Yeah.
So it was a gift and a curse. The gift was this raw friendship. That's all he saw was me. Couldn't do no wrong. And then the curse was objectively, if I was the smaller one, he was, he won the races, he got the better grades.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a challenge in itself.
Yeah, and that is something, man. And shout out to all your brothers and sisters, your whole entire family. Seem
Yeah,
like
thank you.
family. You seem like you got a good
Yeah.
family, man. So the
Oh,
soundtrack to your life, like what was the music like in your household growing up, and what was
oh shoot, the
the
soundtrack, man, that's
sound? That's
crazy.
my favorite topic.
That's a dope question.
Soundtrack to your life. What was the music growing up, and what was the first kind of music that you got into on your own?
Growing up when I was a kid, I definitely remember gospel. Remember Aretha Franklin, the record player, Precious Lord, boom. On Sundays, her taking us to Sunday school. She gave us a great foundation uh with Christ, So I love my mom for that. She taught me about the Lord, man, God first. Um, then after that, it was more like, rap, R&B, Mary J, stuff like that. Got to see her my senior year in high school. Got to see Big my senior year in high school. You know, yeah,
Wow.
saw Big twice. You
Wow.
know, yeah, got to see Jay-Z when I was like just getting out of high school. And this is when they were just beginning. A lot of Public Enemy. East Coast stuff. You know, um, Smith and Wesson,
Yeah,
East Coast.
definitely.
Yeah, Soundboy Burrell still go dumb,
Yeah, yeah.
Still go dumb, yeah. So
Yeah, I
that
was
was it.
born in Brooklyn, but my mom moved us to Virginia when I was like 5
Oh,
all over. So yeah, we got
well,
love.
Brooklyn got the artists. Come on, man.
Yeah, we
Nas,
love it.
come on.
We love it. And Mary
Yeah.
J. Blige is like and Jodeci and stuff is the ones for that.
Yeah, that was it, bro. The 80s. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Slow dancing, rayon shirts.
Oh yeah,
Come on.
you
Yeah.
you know so
Basement jams.
yeah, yeah, yeah. My mom and them, they know more definitely than me. But yeah, growing up, she used to play the Jodeci album, Diary of a Madman, every day.
Oh man, you was growing up with some good R&B, man. Classic, still classic,
Yeah, yes,
timeless music.
yes. So, what did you want to be when you were growing up? We know what you are now and what you are evolving into. But growing up, my nephew always say, "I wanted to be a firefighter or a donut" when he was like 5 years old. So,
Man,
around,
I really
what did
at
you want?
5, growing up, I wanted to play football, to be honest.
All
I
right.
wanted to be a football player, man. I wanted to, go to the NFL. Walter Payton. I was a running back. My twin and I were running back. So Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, we were doing that shit in the living room, bro,
Yeah.
outside. So sport, football was something I thought I was going to be doing. But my mom and my dad's a teacher. My mom was a healthcare officer, and she was like, nah, she's like, nah, you got to think of something else besides football. And
Yeah.
I was like, damn. I always loved science, bro. My dad was kind of slick. We got a few toys, but he also gave us like a microscope and stuff when we were like 8, 9, 10. The little chemicals and sulfur and stuff. So I had this, and earth science toys, and so I definitely dug science. And I was one of those kids when there was an accident, man. I would always be rubbernecking, like
Yeah.
slow down, let me see. And then I'm like, well, what happens when somebody dies? And I remember telling my, as an older kid, and she's like, well, that's a coroner. I was like, well, I want to be a coroner. And my mom was like, man, they don't make no money.
Yeah.
Why don't you should be a doctor or a lawyer? And I chose to be a physician, you know.
Nice.
But
Now,
that's what it is. But
what
go ahead.
what kind of student were you growing up? Some
Shit,
people
that's crazy.
just like they won't be a great student, then they form into a good student as they get older, or some people just had it their whole life. What kind of student were you growing up?
That's a great story. You mind if I light up too?
No, enjoy. We're gonna educate the people today.
Oh, well, I told you, I'm a twin, and then my eldest sister, she's the first physician in my family.
God
So
bless.
let me give you that background, and not just a physician; she's a surgeon.
Ooh,
A black woman, surgeon, trauma surgery, burns, gunshot wound stabs. She runs she runs Grady. Let's put it like that,
bless.
right?
Can we get her
So
socials? Sorry to cut you off. Can we
yeah,
please
she's
get
J
her
Hodge
information?
MD on Insta. JHODGEMD. Um, so let me give you that background. So I have my older sister, and then I had my twin. This is the answer your question, what kind of student. So after kindergarten, um, for some reason, no, first grade, no, after third grade, there's like the little test, right? And my twin, he bounces on me. That motherfucker go ahead. He goes to academically talented school. gifted school. And guess where my eldest sister went? She went to 3rd grade, and then boom, she goes to this gifted school. Me, I'm at the regular school. So I started to like, damn, that's for smart people. So I really was like, I was above average to them because I just felt like they were smarter than me. I didn't believe in myself because objectively they told me, hey, the smart one go to this school. You dig what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And that was celebrated, in my family. Second place wasn't really celebrated. They didn't do a good job celebrating second place. It was kind of like either be eating, win, first was everything.
Yes, sir.
So here I am, born second, not going to the academically talented school, not as physically as strong as him, and definitely not being celebrated. So I went dark, bro. I turned into I rebelled because I wasn't being seen.
Right.
So I wasn't being seen. I wasn't being heard. And then most kids innately want to please parents, but I couldn't please them because I might have got a 94, but he got a 98. So it was like, how come you didn't get the 98? Like you got to get your grades up. So it was like, I was a kid that was in reteaching math. I was a kid that got pulled out of 2nd and 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. They pulled me out for speech. Embarrassing. Like, hey, come here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was one of those kids.
Yeah, I had to be put behind because I moved from New York to Virginia, and it was like, this guy, he's moving around, he can't really read like everybody else. Maybe you want to hold him back. So for people that don't know, Hooked on Phonics is like a program where it's like a big old box where you learn how to read and do all these different things. So I'm with you. I'm right with you on that one.
So yeah, so you want to talk about success and tasting success. I had to leave home to finally get a win. And once I started getting a win, oh man, success begets more success, and started believing in myself. And I'm like, damn, why did I go so dark from teen? I turned into an asshole,
Yeah.
because I kind of isolated myself, wanted to move out when I was 13. I had all these plans, all that shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how it was. And then I started, when I got into Morehouse, that's the first time my twin and I separated because he went to West Point and I didn't get into West Point. And but shit, Morehouse was calling me and boom, he started to get my own identity and start believing in me. And that's when I started taking the fuck off.
Yeah, and let's talk about that, man. The HBCU experience. How amazing was it going to Morehouse, getting in, and what was that experience like for you to be around that beautiful blackness? What was it like?
Oh, excuse me. Inspiring, bro. It was pure inspiration. When you go from just your family, you're like 4% in a classroom or in a school, out of 800, you're like, and you're just 4% blacks. So you're the only one in that class. And then in college prep, you really might be the only black person in that class. So you have the stress of having a good time, enjoying adolescence, but you also have the stress of representing the race.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. When you wanted to,
Yeah.
when you just wanted to be a regular kid, but they'd be like, "Hey, I told you so.
Yeah.
I told you to act like that, right?"
Yep.
So, Boys in the Hood came out, and I haven't heard of Morehouse. And at the end of Boys in the Hood, he's going to Morehouse. She's going to Spelman. Boom, we see the movie, look up Morehouse. I go on a college tour when I was 14, a little bus tour from Jersey. It was a Deep South HBCU tour, Hampton. We saw Howard, Hampton, boom, 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 and got to Atlanta. And we went to Morehouse, and I was sold, bro.
Wow.
Saw the city. Oh, bro, I have never seen that many of us, the opposite of what the news said every day, the opposite of what the world tried to convince me, because when I went to Morehouse at 18, I had never saw 800 Black men in one room with one goal. Bro, you look to the left and to the right, you see 800 18-year-olds trying to get it.
Yes. Yes.
With the shits.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And the next thought leaders and the next CEOs, the next innovators, and you just like, man, bro,
Yeah.
So that was it, man. And I went to med school back in New Jersey, but when I knew I was coming back to Atlanta to practice.
Right.
Because again, I left the Mecca, you know.
Yeah.
I go to med school and back to being the only one again.
Yeah. Yeah. In Atlanta is like, I'm definitely gonna shoot something to do something Atlanta, a love story, because it's just like New York is New York. So you love where you from, you love that stuff like that. But Atlanta is just, it's like, and then right now, to me, from traveling and going back to New York, LA, different places, it's the only one that still has its blackness and didn't get completely taken over by gentrification yet.
Nah,
So
bro,
it's
not
just like,
yet.
yeah, it's Atlanta's the only place. Every time I go somewhere, even back to New York or something, it's like I gotta get back home to feel comfortable. It's nothing like going up them escalators, seeing all that blackness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
At
escalator.
Hartford Jackson, that is
Oh,
home. You're like,
oh, it's nothing
yeah.
like
You see
seeing
nothing
Killer
but
Mike,
blackness.
Little John, and different people on the screen, and you're like, oh man, I'm home,
No,
baby.
you got married. No, you just know.
Yeah,
You
it's
just know you're home. And
yeah.
plus, Atlanta decriminalized too.
Oh,
So it's
man.
nice.
Yes, yes. I think it's a $75 fine. The last I heard, if you get
Yeah,
something,
75 and 150, the
yeah,
second offense.
something is small, something is small. So being a doctor and going for it, how do you stay focused on that journey? Was it that taste of success you felt, or what was it that kept you going and focused for that long?
Uh, well, it was the taste of success, and then I had this big chip on my shoulder, because I was the dumb one. I was so I had this chip on my shoulder. And then I had someone I saw in my family, that my blood, like my sister, that already did it, that got to med school, that achieved these dreams. And I just couldn't, how could I look at that in my face, if I didn't do that? And
Right.
I see someone that did it. So, I'm from, like, in medicine, there's not a lot of time to keep, you got to pay attention, right? So medicine is like, med school is like, hey man, we're not going to do a lot of this bullshit because there's a lot of volume, too much work.
Mhm.
You got to learn the systems, meds, pharmacokinetics, pharmacology. You got to learn how to talk about death and dying. So it's see it, do it, teach it. Now, maybe how I was raised, you know, with my dad, I didn't want to go back and forth with him, and
Yeah.
how he was from the South. See it, do it, teach it. Yeah, because I don't want to be micromanaged. I was good at that. You
Right.
know, I'm looking at motherfuckers. Hey, bro, you just saw it. Why
Yeah.
we gotta keep talking about it? You just saw it.
Yeah.
But in med school and in residency, that's the only way.
Right.
People ain't gonna go back and forth with you and play with you. And if your process, you got to write it down 20 times. No one gives a fuck,
Yep.
because they expect you to be able to do it. And
Right.
once we saw that you can sew, you should be able to teach it.
Yep.
So if you're one of those, and me, coming from that trauma, and then two, I had the trauma of, bro, failure was not an option. I can't go home.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
feel me?
Yeah.
Like, I can't go home.
Yeah.
I'm old school. We was old school. My parents, because what they learned from their parents, their trauma, you go home once, Christmas. You
Yeah.
dig?
Yeah.
and then where you going after this? You 18, you know?
Yeah.
You follow me? It wasn't like our house. This is my house, 18, deuces, military or college,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So my Morehouse experience was not too many people knew me, very quiet because I had to keep my head down and fire them because I had a scholarship.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? I can't lose my scholarship. If I lose my scholarship, I got to go home. You can go home.
Yeah.
You might better go to auntie. I can't go home. What am I do?
Right. Right.
So I was locked in, bro.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is just a beautiful thing. Now, the medicine, man, the medicine that's on your shirt, the medicine of marijuana, the medicine of weed, man. When did it first come into your life, and when you really start to delve in, like, I really want to use this plant and use this medicine and really
Yeah,
help people.
easy, easy. I did not fuck with this at all because I'm 47, 80s, drug war, crime, crime dog McGruv,
Yep.
cartoons.
Yeah.
uh,
You could take a bite out of crime.
yes, your brain on drugs. So
Yep.
that was my childhood, bro. And then when with Nixon and then with Reagan and then with Clinton, they really started doing the military tactics, RICO Act, anything associated with marijuana. It could be gang related and everything that you might have bought off of weed, they'll take and seize at homes, cars, if you bought your mama something. So you see everyone getting banged up. I didn't touch it, bro. I didn't, I saw it, Jersey, went to Morehouse in Atlanta. I didn't touch it. Um, Go to med school, you don't learn anything positive about it. All you hear, only time you hear about marijuana is with abuse and with addiction. Um, or maybe it's a gateway drug. So boom, you don't hear anything positive about it. I'm practicing medicine 20 something years and then I break my neck. Playing basketball, I had my head break my neck playing basketball, run to this guy's chest. I gotta get these plates and screws in my neck and a bunch of opioids and a bunch of Ambien to help me sleep and a bunch of trazodone to help me deal with my emotions and depression. And then I've heard about this healing people for chronic pain. Tried it 2014 and haven't looked back.
Wow. Wow. Now,
So once it changed my life, I was like, whoa, man, there's millions of people suffering from chronic pain. And I was at the kind of, 20 years of practicing medicine, you kind of realize you're not really making a difference. You're just managing diseases. You're
mm,
not curing them. You manage them with one pill, but in a year or two, they're on 4 pills.
mm,
Decade later, they have chronic renal failure, they're on dialysis. Like, how are you really helping them? What do we do all this for? You know? So I was getting burnt out at the end. I was getting kind of burnt out, break my neck. I find a therapeutic relief with cannabis. And then I decided to learn as much as I can about it every day. Because this is something I'm going to use as medicine for me, for my chronic pain, for my sleep issues, to stabilize my mood, to help me with my appetite. And then I'm learning more what it can do, antiviral, antiseptic, antiplasmodial. It's helping me prevent arthritis. It could be preventing Alzheimer's for me. Alzheimer's begins in your 30s and 40s. You know, so much that it's going to be doing, and we're going to find out. But because it's a Schedule One drug, the research is there. But popular opinion is, you know.
yeah.
So that's how I became in love with the plant, and just decided to use everything I could as a physician that understands Eastern Western medicine. Been doing it, been prescribing, and been participating. I've been doing clinical trials, so I understand the $1 trillion market of healthcare system. I have the I have the the past experience of seeing, hey, physicians are pretty much sales agents for the latest drug. We're not taking these drugs. We still are in the school that one size pill fits all, and that doesn't make any sense. Man, woman, different sizes. Once you're at a pediatric range, we're thinking one pill is going to treat a black or white age. And that's absurd. It's absurd. So yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
and shout out to Gip, Big Gip, man. He is the person that put me on to you, and he has the Gip goodies. Everybody go get those. We're gonna talk about what you got going on in a minute, but oh yes, sir, yes, sir. But Gip, Big Gip, man, is the one that put me on the Gip goodies,
Shout out to the whole mob.
sir.
Gib, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, but
Gib's been a soldier since 2015. He's been advocating for Georgians
yeah,
and trying to get people, to understand this medicine and entrepreneurs, hempreneurs, just encourage people to get in the industry. It's a huge lane, $34 billion this year.
yeah. He told me about. He showed me your page and what you were doing, and it was amazing. Now talk about like for some of your patients that you've helped, and I've seen you put your arm around them, and they really feel healed and they really feel helped. That's what made me feel like, well, I knew with this podcast we could talk about bang bang shoot 'em up, Atlanta strippers and all that. We're gonna take the hard route and do something positive. So I was like, let me get with people in a cool way, in my way, and talk about
Yeah.
that. So let's talk about how were you helping and what kind of things were you helping your patients with? Because the look on their faces, man, when they smile and like you can tell they've been through things and they feel like the light and the breakthrough is coming and you help them. And it's something special about treating them as a human being and not just a patient to doctor
Yeah.
person. What have you helped people with, and what have you seen those aha moments with when you help them in any way, but specifically, I guess, in the medical marijuana phase of it?
Uh, the one word I would sum it up would be hope. Cannabis has restored hope for so many people. So when you see them smile and when they see them, I hug them or they hug me super tight, is because I kind of been there too. Almost lost a little hope. And when you lose hope, that can fragment your relationship with family, which with with whoever you believe in, your higher power. You'll stop believing in him or her, you know? And you totally go in isolation mode. And that's just, it's just a lot of negative things that can just snowball from that. So, and then when you're on one pill and that didn't work, and you're on two pills, and then you have four surgeries, and they lead to 8 surgeries, and now you have scar tissue everywhere, and then the doc say, "Hey, man," or "You're terminal," or "Hey, at least you're not, you didn't die, you're still alive." Those people have lost hope. They lost their voice, um, and that's what I try to restore. Because I've been there. I've been there. The best qualities about me is not like how much I can memorize. It's just I think it's the way I make people feel, and there's nothing fake. It's truly authentic. And I think I truly try to pour into people when I see them, is because it's important that they know that at least that day they were seen or heard by one person, because I spent many days feeling invisible, and it ain't cool.
Right,
So I make sure when I come across people and I'm in the mood, that I'm gonna pour into you, and you
right,
definitely gonna feel a whole fucking lot better. You
right.
know?
So
Yeah.
what
Thank you.
specifically like for like inflammation, and what kind of things specifically can marijuana help you with in any way? If you're dealing with a variety of different things, what things off the top of your head
Great question.
do you know like it helps with for the
Yeah.
people, the older people that are like only been fed negativity about marijuana and stuff? What's some of the things that like, hey, this can help with this and this can help with that? Grandma, great grandma, mom, dad, what can this do for you?
All right. Cannabis is again is not new medicine. This was the number one medicine physicians prescribed in this country from 1890 to 1940. Um, it didn't because of really racial issues. You know, we started to decriminalize it, and then it became prohibited. Really racially motivated. This was a medication that we used all around the world, every culture. So when we started to try to end prohibition, we started to study it. And the studies now show that cannabis is indeed a great treatment for chemotherapy associated nausea and vomiting. Facts. Fact number two, cannabis is an appetite stimulant because there's an FDA approved drug that's synthetic THC called Marinol that doctors like me can prescribe for end stage AIDS because they go through anorexia and the end stage of AIDS. Another common disease called cancer, right? They go through anorexia, poor appetite. We can prescribe Marinol, which is a fake cannabis, synthetic, and that increases your appetite. We also know that there's components of cannabis that can stop seizures, slow down seizures. And these are severe pediatric seizures. One is called Dravet syndrome. The other one is called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And these are severe epileptic seizures that shortens the lifespan of these babies. Those are facts. Popular opinion is it can help pain, PTSD. It can fight cancer. It's an antivirus. That's all popular opinion. You can use it for sleep. You can use it for when you're depressed, for anxiety. But that's not the truth for everybody. That's just popular opinion. Cannabis is everywhere now, right? 36 states, 14 states recreational, DC recreational. And by the end of this year, the map's going to change again and prohibition might be over next year, right? So unfortunately, because cannabis is a Schedule One drug, meaning the federal government said this has no medicinal benefit, Schedule One, just like heroin, just like cocaine, just like meth, just like psilocybin, right? Schedule One drug. So when the feds made this a Schedule One drug in the 70s, only one institute can do research on it, right? University of Mississippi. And their supply doesn't match what's on the streets right now. So you got a few scientists that are waiting for one grower, and these products that they're growing don't match what's on the streets, don't match what's in dispensaries. THC levels are 8%. And we're just making these discoveries with bunk THC, with bunk weed, bro.
Right,
You feel what I'm saying?
right.
So the federal government just allotted more growers, attracted more talent, and they're going to try to match what's in dispensaries. So we know once those researchers, and I hope the research as well, once they get a hold of some quality cannabis with THC levels of 21, 22, which matching it. Now let's redo all them studies.
Right,
Most of those results will be different.
right, right.
Yeah, so big storm is coming, bro.
I think so. I think so. Now,
Yeah, this wave ain't going nowhere.
yeah, yeah. Now the
Yeah.
big thing for you is like, uh, in our community, in the black community, is like our talk with kids about it that's under 18 or under 21 whenever it gets legalized and now it's not legal. How do you think, like, as a parent, do you navigate that talk with your young black man, your young black daughter, about, like, hey, I don't know, you shouldn't get caught with it? Like, how do you navigate that conversation of when you should
It's not worth it.
stuff
Tell
like
them, hey, it's not worth it. You don't have if you had a medical card,
right,
you know, fine. That's by a doctor. We're in a state where that there's a medical program and you're allowed to have this for your sickle cell. Fine. Or you're allowed to have this for your Crohn's disease. This happens in kids, ulcerative colitis or for your seizures. Now, for the person that feels sad, normal teenager and going through teenage problems, no, you can't use cannabis. You know, it's a legal program. Now, if you want to go ahead and sneak it and get it off the street, you let them know, hey, that stuff is made in garbage cans. Cannabis out of dispensaries is regulated. What does that mean? Well, you just can't buy food, without the FDA making sure there's no metals, plastics, razor blades in there, making sure people got clean hands, right? You're not going to eat that Chick-fil-A sandwich, right? Without gloves and the standards. So we have similar standards for the cannabis industry as well, just not regulated by the federal government, but they're regulated by state agencies, right? What you're buying off the street is not regulated. It's going to have a lot of chemicals, a lot of adulterants. So you let them know one is not clean, poison. You know, tell them you're smoking on bleach. You know, then you tell them, hey, look, I'm going to forgive you, but if you get caught with that vape pen, that's a felony in Georgia.
mm,
Then you say, hey, well, what does that mean? Well, you tell them, hey, if you have a felony, if you have a drug felony, you want to go to college, right? And they're like, yeah, 70% of colleges do criminal background checks. You're not going to go. And then you're like, well, I'm going to get a job then. Okay, they do criminal background checks too. And you're like, well, I'm like, well, okay. So you let them know the punitive charges, let them know, hey, decrim doesn't mean legal. Decrim means you're not going to go to jail, you know, but decrim is just for the flower, dry content. But what if you had a gummy or edible, a baked good, which is very popular, or you had a vape pen, which is very popular for kids? Those are felonies. That's not the decrim law. The decrim is for flower. All decrim is for flower. You dig what I'm saying?
right.
So you let them know how that will change their life drastically. You let them know, like, hey, once you got this drug conviction and you might have some kids, but now that you can't work, you can't even get food stamps because
Right.
you got a drug conviction. Because any drug conviction, you can't participate. No SNAP.
Right. Right.
So you're gonna be hustling and let them know you too soft to be hustling.
Yeah. Yeah. We raised you better than that. You ain't ready for
You
the
a
streets gonna eat you alive, man.
bro. You look and say, son, you a civilian. You
Yes.
ain't nothing gangster about you.
We just bought you a PlayStation 5. Yeah, you can't do that.
Stop,
Yeah. Yeah.
stop. It ain't worth it. And then
Yeah.
you let them know, even though things are being decriminalized, this decriminalization hasn't been equitable. And say, what does equitable mean? Well, black people are still getting arrested at a higher rate. So you being black, you're a target. You know, you can't do what they're doing. That's what you got to tell them. The arrests are 8-1 in every major city. Let them know white people consume more weed than black people. But once they decriminalize this, we went to jail 8 times more than they do. And let them know they consume at a higher rate than black people. But black people went to jail 8%, 8 times more than white people.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
you
That.
just don't have the luxury of doing that.
Yeah.
And then you let them know your brain is still forming
Yeah.
to 21.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Kids, I can prescribe, I'll make recommendations for kids because the benefits outweigh the outcomes. They're on opioids, their life expectancy is going to be shorter. These are severe seizures where they can stop breathing and die at 5 months or 8 months. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the benefits outweigh the risk.
Right.
But if you don't have those problems when you consuming cannabis before your brain is formed, that can cause problems. Problems like ADHD, difficulty with tangential thinking. You
Right.
dig what I'm saying? A motivation. They can develop into cannabis use disorder, which is addiction. Um, you can become cannabis schizophrenia. There's cannabis hyperemesis syndrome that can happen from exposure at a young age. You dig what I'm saying? Cannabis sleep disorder. There's some problems that happens with cannabis. It's
Wow.
not all good things.
Yeah, I wanted to go on that. Like, do you feel like there's a certain abuse of cannabis where it's like I can't do anything without it? Do you feel like, because I feel like it's a lot of benefits, but a lot of people want to talk about, no, can you abuse it to the point where like,
Yes.
yeah,
Hell yeah, it's addictive.
yeah,
Hell yeah, it's addictive. But we don't, you know, I think in 21 we stopped saying addiction, we call it disorder. You don't call it alcohol addiction because addiction is so negative and it's like condescending to call it like you're an addict.
yep,
So they changed the political correct word is alcohol uh, alcohol use disorder
right,
or cannabis use disorder or opioid use disorder to bring some dignity in it. It
right,
kind of curtail this shit. So yeah, you can become addicted and not offending anybody, but just so people are familiar with that term, you can become addicted to cannabis.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, for sure, most patients are going to become addicted. Like patients on opioids, are they not going to become addicted?
right,
Yes or no?
right, yeah, of course, because
No, this is chronic pain, not acute pain. This is not sprained ankle. You got four. No, this is you got a degenerative disc disease, and you're going to get them every month.
right, right. But how would
But
you know? You think from weed, like how would you know? Like, hey, I'm taking this a little further than my typical joint once a day, or something like that, where I'm doing it almost every hour, every 30 minutes. Like, how do you tell? Like, I guess from weed.
great question. It's the same. It's a cage questionnaire similar to alcohol. It's similar to alcohol addiction. So the C is for um, have you ever tried to cut down? Just like an alcoholic. And most alcohol, like, fuck, man, I wanted to only drink 5 drinks. I'm trying to. And if you consume weed, you're like, damn, I wish I could stop, you know, rolling these big blunts. And why did I have to hit that bowl? I just hit the bowl, like, uh, or you might get a little attitude when someone's like, damn, you hitting that again, or you got to smoke again. And you're like, yo, chill, like. So that's the C of cage. Um, the A, the A is annoyed. Yeah. Uh, the the G is does it get in the way of like, are you late to work because of smoking? Are you late to obligations because of weed? You know? And the E is an eye opener. Do you like before you brush your teeth, you want to roll a joint?
Right, right.
So all you need is two of those positive to say positive out of that cage, and then the physician's supposed to refer you for counseling, for drug treatment, for abuse.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Because I always wanted to
So
know.
that's the simple way to ask yourself. And most people say, yeah. Look at me. I say, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But I'm a patient. It was inevitable.
yeah, yeah.
This is the very beginning. We don't have enzyme blockers. That's the future. We don't have ways to shut off the dopamine that you get from it. That's the future. You know, we don't have products that we can keep rotating around. Vape, gummy. No one told us that in the beginning. You
Right,
know, rotating products, cannabis holidays. That's the future. That's the knowledge gaps. You know,
right,
because as more millions choose cannabis daily to be their regimen for efficacy or for prevention, there's going to be more abuse. People that come, there's going to be more addiction.
Right, right. And for you, what
Mm.
your products that you have, can we please see that product again that you have in Georgia? And
Oh,
then,
this is CBD.
yes, sir.
Got gummies, got salves, um, a focus product, nighttime product to help you sleep, helps you with sleep onset, sleep duration, and those are CBD, cannabidiol, which is comes from hemp, and hemp is legal in all 50 states since 2018, the Farm Bill.
Right.
It contains less than zero point 0.3 THC.
Now, will that show up in drug tests for the people that want to have it, but they scared that the percentage
No,
is it going to show up?
no, it won't. But only 30% of the labels in the cannabis industry, and that's for hemp and for cannabis, are accurate.
Okay. Okay.
So don't believe the hype when you see the labels. Make sure you got CBD from a place that has a certificate of analysis that they're definitely tested.
Okay.
Buying CBD off a gas station could have more than zero point 0.3 or maybe some low grade to keep you coming back as a customer, you
Right.
know, until they get busted, but they made all their money and that could, test hot.
And what's the name of your product and where can you purchase it, whether it be online or here in Atlanta? Uh,
We we
information.
in Georgia. We're off the Beltline with it. It's at a Holistic Hemp Georgia.com online. But Holistic Hemp Georgia, that's Holistic Hemp GA on Instagram. Boom. Hit the .com on that for the online. And you can order. Got some Delta 8 too.
Okay. And the name of your
Yeah.
product?
It's Rashaan Hodge is my name.
All right, all right, man. So people definitely got to try that. They got to try that, man. So
Yeah, it's stamped for
I,
sure.
I like what you said about growing up and the pressures and everything, because I talk a lot about healing, and I think that's coming up and becoming more normal now. How important to you do you feel it is to like heal? Because for me, I think of like if you bust your knee up really bad and the doctor, I go to you and you telling me, hey, you need surgery, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna just rub a cream on it. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That's not healing. It's just putting a band-aid on something. But when you go in and really fix something in your life emotionally, that's when you go in and do the surgery on yourself. And that's what's
Facts.
healing. So can you go on healing? Even for you, you said like comparing yourself and you went dark at one point. How important is healing from things in your past to really make you a better person? And it's an ongoing journey. It doesn't really
It is.
stop, but
It is.
can we go
It
on that?
is. It is. That's a great topic, and that's just in my opinion, healing is really being your authentic self. Um and and then it's easy to forgive others, but the hardest part of healing is probably forgiving yourself, you
Right.
know, for allowing yourself to be off centered by a grade or because you didn't, or by how fast you can run or how many points you didn't score by this objective measures, you know, and because of these objective measures get put on at such an early age, um, before your ego is formed, you got some people that are going to be over egotistic, and you're going to have these people they're like, man, that
Right.
don't even know, never really, they have an underdeveloped ego, you
Right.
know, and those are the people usually that people weren't clapping for, the underdogs,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And so I'm not the only one that got a chip on their shoulder, you know.
Yeah.
That's most black men, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So most black men have to heal, and once I started to heal, man, and healing is mind, body, and soul. It's comprehensive, and then once you are healed, you kind of understand your center, and you'll feel energy that will push you, that pull, and it's going to be instant tug of war. And once you're healed, you loathe tug of war, bro. You hate that shit.
Yeah.
That's for them.
Yeah.
You want to live in chaos, do it.
Yeah.
I've done that.
I feel that.
Yeah,
I feel that. I feel like
yeah.
the pandemic has really made people sit with themselves and figure out you, because it made you can't go running around, you can't do these things. We getting back to normal now, but I think it really made you look and sit with you, and we all had to do the work and figure it out. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
and
amazing.
you'll know what keeps you centered. And once you're healed, you're good. You won't allow. You understand that, hey man, your peace is your responsibility. You
Right.
know, because you got centered. It took a long term time and a lot of work. A lot of work. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and once you're there, unapologetically, it's gonna come off like that.
Man, what you've hit it right on the head, because for me, I feel
Yeah.
like I've tried therapy. I think weed is amazing. I can't wait till they legalize it. I might have to talk to you about the cannabis cards and everything. But when I start doing the work for myself, what you said exactly, you become center. And then when those things come in your life, like that tug of war, you don't want to do that no more. It's like, hey, bro, I'm good. Like y'all can do that. I
That's on
don't
you.
want to do that,
Right.
really. So, what can you share? Because I mean, I think therapy helped me, but I only did it for a little while. Did it with a black woman. Shout out to her. And but what things do you think helped, like for you, or what helped you in healing in your journey?
Um, you can't have yes men around you.
Whew.
You'll never heal.
Yes.
I have a dear friend, and she, you need someone that just can kind of, and that could be like a friend, maybe not family, and definitely not your boys, or maybe a stranger, maybe it's just you, but you've been kind of feeling that people really ain't truly authentic, because they know that you're kind of sleeping on yourself. You don't know your worth. So they're gonna take advantage of it.
Right.
But then you might have someone come in your life like, hey man, look what you're doing. Why are you doing this? Why you think they're doing this? Because you're going, and then you start to then that could be a catalyst.
Right.
You still gotta do the work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was I was lucky to be blessed with someone like that in my life.
And that's what I tell.
Late in my life.
I tell people that too. It's not necessarily going to a therapist and doing this. It's doing the work to figure out you, whatever it, whether it's taking a walk, whether it's anything that can help you
Yeah.
change you to get your mind right. Meditation, painting is fun. I went to the splatter studio in
Oh man, that's therapy. Art is
California.
medicine.
Yeah, yeah, it was just really cool, and I encourage people to do that, man, because
Uh,
it's amazing.
yeah. I you just said, you're doing the painting and stuff. And then I look at people and they're like, God, thank you. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, I know you're feeling like I'm restoring hope, blah, 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 blah. But during your darkest times, doctors ain't be there for you. You know who's gonna be there for you? Artists. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, all right, just think how your darkest times, you probably played a song, right? That kid, that's an artist. Or you read a book, or you read a passage, or you read a poem. Those are artists saving your ass, not me.
Yeah, that is a cool perspective.
Yeah, and we look at artists like, you want to, why are you going to art? We're supposed to be doing, man. Artists are the shit.
Yeah, yeah. I read a book by
Yeah,
a humble poet called Unlearn. It's a great book, and it's just about what do you really like? You get all these things talked about throughout your life, and people tell you things like it's like 101 different passages of unlearning everything and figuring out you. And art is just amazing. Music is amazing. And music and we go together. What is one of your favorite songs to listen to while you smoke? Now, I feel like the Isley Brothers Make It Say It Again Girl is just a smooth, because the smoke just goes into your lungs and it goes out and it clears you out, and you hear Ronald Isley just start singing and you're like, oh my gosh. What is a song that today or any time in your life that you feel like it's amazing to listen to while you get elevated?
My my go-to is off that Monster album, bro. Harley, Future. Yeah,
Wow.
that's your wake and bake. That's my go-to. Number two probably be Bam, Jay-Z.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you feeling good, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Come
just
on, man.
yeah, Bone Thugs and
Those
Harmony,
are,
them too, man. Buddha lovers,
yeah, those
like
would be my two.
oh yeah, yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Friday, what Friday, man? Do you got that movie Friday? Those have that movie has some amazing lines and metaphors, and it was just so accepting of weed
yeah.
early on. And do you have any favorite parts of Friday? That movie?
See, I was before my time, but definitely I'm not before my time as movie, before I was smoking,
Oh yeah,
so I wasn't part of that culture, I wasn't even interested. That's something I wasn't going to do. So that shit was funny as hell to me.
yeah,
Probably when it's funny now. It's more funny now when Q first time getting high,
yeah,
and then it reminds you of your first time, like. And it ain't like, most people think the first time you smoke something, you're gonna feel it, because it took me like months to
yeah,
start smoking right. Cause
yeah,
I'm like, man, what is this? I don't feel this. Like, how, like, what are you supposed to feel? And they're like, dude, just hit it like this. I'm like, I am. Like, what are you supposed to feel?
yeah,
So then it just like boom.
yeah.
And that probably was probably the funniest shit when Craig was high as hell,
And I think, man, the best weed ever is when you thinking like this thing is not hitting on nothing, and it just grabs you and it say, "Come,
Yeah.
come here, let me talk to you for a second." And you like, whoa, you have been transformed into a whole nother plateau of life. You like, wow, I am really, really messed up.
Those are my favorite chemotypes. Chemotypes high in myrcene, uh, the cannabis that smells like dirt, earthy.
Right.
That aromatic compound is myrcene. That's the terpene, and that it's very sedating. Gives you that body high. It's a creeper. After a gram, it kind of like whoa, not
Yeah.
that head high. Like the limonene, the sativas.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my favorite chemo bars, because I find that works best with my pain. Those creepers.
Yeah, for me, man,
Yeah,
in California, I went to high school there. So my first time really getting into it is California grade weed. And it was like, wow, this stuff is strong, strong. California's always been talked about for ages.
yeah. Ocean grown. OG. People think OG is an old original gangster. That OG stands for ocean grown.
Whew,
Come on, stop.
man,
Yeah,
California
Cali.
just like, man, and Snoop Dogg, everybody, the Chronic, the album, that flower. Like when you see the flower, you most people think, oh, weed, but a lot of us will think the Chronic album because that is iconic. That flower
That
on it.
was culture. That started help culture. It did.
Yeah, yeah. It was just
It pushed the sales, pushed the numbers up.
it was amazing. It was amazing. So now we about to get out of here shortly, but
Yes.
in your
Enjoyed it.
practice, where can you be found and what kind of like doctor are you and what things do you do? Where are you located? Where can people find you
I'm
at?
in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta. Instagram is the best way to catch up with me. Rashaan Hodge.md on the Insta. I'm a family medicine physician trained. I used to do the cannabis recommendations for the state. I still got a small practice, and I hope to formulate soon. Get into to research, help make this industry a little better. Um, take everything that I learned. I'm getting my master's in cannabis as well. I graduate in May at the University of Maryland. So I'm using my experience of 20 years of practice and kind of bottle that up, pros, the cons. Um, I'm in this fascinating sector of cannabis, which I consume, patient, advocate, and it's about to take off. You dig what I'm saying?
Nice.
So there's some stuff I don't like about cannabis too, you know? So I have this huge opportunity to to change it and to inspire others, that look like me to change it
Right, right. Now,
and be part of the infrastructure. And as a dope, we all can be part of this infrastructure in the first 5 years.
nice. If somebody wants
Yeah.
to become a patient of yours, how do they go about that? And
Oh, my patient load is I'm maxed out in my clinic,
oh,
so
yeah.
I'm maxed out, if I can refer you to a cool little doc, that I trust.
Okay. And
Yeah.
cannabis cards and stuff like that. I seen on your Instagram you showed that you had both a firearm license, which is important, but also a cannabis license. How do you go about getting that for people that's tired of getting in trouble or busted or really need this flower as medicine? How can they go about it a smarter way and get that cannabis card?
In Georgia, we've been a medical cannabis state in Georgia since 2016. Uh, we now have 17 applicable diseases, ranging from post-traumatic stress disorder, autism, chronic pain, epilepsy, ALS, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, Lou Gehrig's disease, sickle cell anemia, um, HIV, cancer, and even hospice, less than 6 months to live. Uh, and there's a few others. There's a skin disease called epidermolysis bullosa. And there's another disease called mitochondrial disease. And I think I didn't mention Parkinson's disease. So you have one of those 17 conditions, you see a doctor that participates in this medical cannabis program. That doctor will qualify you for a medicinal cannabis card here in Georgia, which will allow you to have up to 20 fluid ounces of low THC cannabis oil. Um, that oil is what you are legally allowed to take. So that's how you do it. The card's good for 2 years. Uh, Georgia has a reciprocity card. So, you can participate in other states if you travel to medical states. Your card's reciprocity. You're allowed to participate in their state if they have a reciprocity program. Georgia is also a reciprocity state. So as our cannabis industry starts to become robust, uh, visitors can participate in our law with their card. You know, that card will also allow you for home delivery, so you don't have to do anything illegal. If you have a physical condition or unable to get into a car or it's burdensome or don't have the transportation, Georgia's cannabis card will set you up for home delivery by a dispensary once you're linked up with a dispensary as well. So,
Nice,
yeah,
nice, nice.
yeah. And you won't be able to get into a dispensary without a medicinal cannabis card
Okay,
because
so
this is not a recreational state. Recreational means over 21. Here in Georgia, it's medical only. You got to have a card.
okay, so it's only oil. You can't have the actual plant with the card.
No, we started conservative. This will quickly change like other states. The card is just oil only, which is stronger sometimes than flour. You know, it's sublingual delivery under your tongue or buckle. Use your gums. You take the oil and you rub it in your gums,
Okay,
and you have these big veins in your mouth under your tongue. They're going to get absorbed, and you're going to feel the effects within 30, 15 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes. Um, we have 18 or 17 jurisdictions that have decriminalized cannabis, the flower, but that's not the medical program. But what have most states do once we start growing cannabis for the medical program, most states quickly pivot to more options, more delivery methods. So the oil was just to kind of get into law, but oil only is really discrimination. There's a lot of conditions that can benefit from inhalation or from gummies or from a topical patch or from a suppository. So those delivery methods will change, you know, but politically, you know, being the conservative South, you kind of had to under the radar.
now for somebody who like smokes weed heavy for real, but they want to try like a hemp or CBD or like your product, what effects are they gonna feel from like your products, like the true weed smokers or something like that? Are they gonna feel about the
They're
same?
not going to feel the psychoactivity because they're not getting the THC levels.
Okay.
So they're going to feel like it's an air pack. You
Okay.
know, smells good, looks good, but I ain't feeling it.
Yeah.
So a true recreational user wouldn't probably use CBD. They'll stay because they're using it for the psychoactivity. They just want to get high.
Okay.
They're not thinking of it medicinal.
But do you feel like a floaty for somebody who doesn't? Will they feel like happy and calm and stuff from your product?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. CBD is a great anxiolytic. CBD is great for sleep. CBD is great for focus. It tastes pretty good. It's got terps just like the terps in cannabis. Um, but a lot of people just want to get gone. They just want to be gone, bro.
Nice, nice, nice.
Some people just want to. A lot of people just want to be blown.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's their prerogative.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I thank you for your time. Thank you for your
All right, boss.
all that you do. It's amazing. Your family is amazing.
Yeah.
I seen your pictures with your dad and your mom's hilarious. Taking a dab. Oh man, it was just really,
Yeah.
and it's just we honor you and thank you, Black man, for what you're doing.
All right.
Uh,
Peace, King. You
yeah,
already know, bro.
yeah, we definitely do. But last thing I do out of here is speak it to existence. A year from now, what will you be doing in your life and in your growth and in your worth? We speak it into existence. This is the last question.
Bro, changing this industry. I'll be a monster next year in this industry. I'll be a monster, a household name.
Right. And this
Yeah.
is recorded.